Welcome, Sirens, to your recommendation video. So I was heavily inspired by Donna, the Sirens team captain, to do some mermaid makeup. You can't really see it on camera, I believe, but there are bubbles and stuff, you know? I tried. Today we're gonna do the bingo board for the scales. We're gonna walk through every single prompt, and I'm gonna recommend you some books. This is again for the Nevermoreathon happening in April, and this is a readathon based on the Wednesday show on Netflix. So we have 7 teams based on the clicks and the abilities the people having that the people have that go to the Nevermore Academy. If you're unfamiliar with it, I'll link the announcement video down below and I'll explain into way more detail than this. But today we're gonna do the recommendations for the skills. Team skills first prompt is water on the cover, and for that I chose House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is a thriller all around a lake, and it has water on the cover. I liked it, but it isn't my favorite Riley Sager. It's a murder mystery where woman just disappears, and the woman we follow happens to do nothing because her life is a mess currently. That's why she's on the lake. So she's kind of spying on that house because it's an old class house, you know. And the reveal in the end is unnatural. So I think that's good to know going in, that there is a twist, which is a bit more fantasy. But I really enjoyed the book. So there you have it. The House in the Cerulean Sea would also work because it has a lot of water on the cover. That is just a cozy book about all kinds of people with abilities. And a man finding himself. For a song, you can either go Frostheart by Jamie Littler, which is about Ash, and Ash lives. This is a polar fantasy, you know, so he lives in a setting in a very snowy landscape, and there are these monsters that have a song, and people used to sing to, you know, they can communicate with the monster through song. So that song is forbidden because people believe now that the song calls the monsters to destroy the village, and Ash obviously can sing this song. And he accidentally does so. So he's getting banned from the village. And his Yeti caretaker is helping him out, you know, is just going to join him because he can't leave him alone. And they end up joining this ship, but there is no water. So, but it is a ship. That's goes through all these villages, connect people, trade big things, you know, so that every village has the ability to get everything, basically. So they fight a lot of monsters and stuff, and it's really exciting. Or you could go with The Thief Who Sang Storms by Sophie Anderson. There is singing in this too, and again it is forbidden. For not a good reason at all. And it's through song that we fight evil in this book. I really enjoyed it. This is Sophie Anderson. It's heavily based on folklore. Sophie Anderson writing is really, really good. You know, this is about an island that is in a heart shape, but it's broken. And on one side lives the humans, and on the side live the bird people. And the bird people are now forbidden to sing. And you know, it's really good. There are working camps in this. I just want to mention it if that triggers people, because I can imagine it does. But I Really enjoyed it. For a companion novel, you can go a lot of ways. We talked in these videos a lot about the Wayward Children series. They're small, they're wholesome, they fulfill a lot of prompts. And one of them actually has kind of mermaid sirens stuff. Where the Drowned Old Girls by Shannon McGuire. This is have water creatures. It has water on the cover. It has a water location. This will fulfill a lot of prompts, but I'm not sure if you already read it. But the Wayward Children are kind of companion novels, so you can read them out of order. I'm not sure if I would recommend it, but you can. So, and this does has mermaidy things in it. I have to shout out my man Gozert here. You know what this is about. I talked about it way too much. It's written by Peter Koolwijk. Unfortunately, it's only in Dutch. And this is about Ties, who has an, for him, invisible friend, but to the rest of the world, imaginary friend called Gozert. And they get into a lot of trouble. And they actually, needed to go to a mental health facility and stay there because it got that bad. But this is the most respectful, honest representation of mental health I've seen. So, there you go. And their companion novels. The third comes out in May and I can't wait. Another good one is Rumpelstar. This is written by Abby Elbenstein, and these are the Unmapped Chronicles, but they don't follow each other. So in every book you find a new kid who needs to save the world, and they all end up in a different realm of the unmapped kingdoms. So one is the Rumpelstars, the other is Jingle Drop, Everdark. They're all named after the kingdom they fall into. So the settings are slightly different. One is set in water, so I recommend you for that prompt. These are really fun. Also, it's middle grade. They're small. They're easy to get to, so it's ideal for Readathon. Hold on, I forgot two prompts. I'm gonna grab some books. Wait a second. Back. So actually, the Unmapped Kingdoms Chronicles will work for I think almost every book in the series will work. Not companion novels, but because in Jungle Drop we talk about these twins Fox and Fiber who have been rivals for their whole life because one of them inherits all the fortune and the company from their parents, and the other one does not. So they have been set up against each other for all their life. They have been rivals, and now they need to work together to save Jungle Drop and the Unmapped Kingdoms again. I really, really enjoyed these books. And this definitely has rivalry in it, so it will work for that prompt. For a book with manipulation. I know this can be a harder one, especially since you don't really know what's going to happen in a book, so you're not sure if there's manipulation in it. So for that, I would recommend any murder mystery. Because if the murder is present, in the group, that's kind of a trope with murder mystery, he or she will lie and manipulate to not be discovered. So it will count. So you're almost certainly set on the murder mystery prompt. And if that didn't work, you as a reader has been manipulated by the writer to think somebody else did it. Because that always happens. Thrillers does that. Murder mysteries does that. So I would recommend something in that group because you're gonna be manipulated to think it's somebody else. So that will count. So if you're really having trouble with that, go for one of those genres and you're certainly okay. I recommend The Final Girls by Riley Sager. The girl in this is being manipulated. As a reader, you're manipulated to think who it is. So a lot of manipulation going on, so it would definitely count. for a cult book. And I've heard people had trouble with this one. And I get it. Again, you don't really know what's gonna happen in a book. But it doesn't have to be classic cult. You know, any group of people that's really strict about letting new peoples in and have very strict rules will count. So I got The Magical Pharmacy by Anna Rue. This is originally written in German. I read it in Dutch. And for as far as I know, it's only in German and Dutch available. But it's a really good one. And this has a cult of people that, how do you translate that? They're called the Evers. I think that will work. Because they're basically using a perfume that enhances their life until forever. So some of them have lived for hundreds of years. They can be killed, but, you know, they just keep enhancing their life. So they have been living for hundreds of years. They have very strict rules. Who to let in, who can use the perfume, what you have to do when you're in the group. So I think that will definitely count as a cult book. Also, The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane will count. It also has a very culty group in it. It has very specific rules, what you need to do, and how you can join, if you can join. They're very specific about that as well. And this is basically middle grade dark academia, and it's actually one of the few I really, really enjoy. It's in this creepy, kind of gothic school setting. The group is very mysterious and a secret. It's sort of a secret society. It is a secret society, but it has very specific rules. So I think it would definitely, you know, count as a cult. They do stuff, you know. So it will count. Another book is Catherine House. This, again, has this very specific group, which isn't really a secret society. I would not count it for secret society. But it's this very sort of elite specific group from a department of the Catherine House that experiment with things that is very morally grey and questionable. So they're very specific who they tell, what you need to do and to get in, how you have to behave when you get in. So I think that will count as a cult as well. And then we're on with book with teamwork. And I chose The Witchlings because this was so cute. This is about girls. I think they were 12. And at that age in this world, they normally form their... It's not tribe, but I totally forgot the word for witch group. Let me put out the camera and then I'll remember, I'm sure. But I'm not going to do that right now. You all know what it is, so shout it at me and laugh at how stupid I am. I can't think of it right now. But so they're making this witch group. And your amulet is going to shine in which coven. Thank you, coven. You're belonging. And there's a specific amount available for every coven. So 3 of them are left out. And they formed the left out coven, which basically means you will be a servant for the rest of your lives. So these are 3 girls that definitely do not want to work together. They definitely didn't want to belong there. Actually, 2 of them hate each other. But they are forced to work together. They need to learn to work together. Because if they don't, their coven will be unbanned or not connected true enough. And that means they lose all their magic they have. All 3 of them. So they're going to do this 3 impossible task to prove the coven can exist. Because they didn't connect. Because, you know, they hated each other. And then, you know, it needs to be okay. But there's a lot of... It's very heavily based on the topic teamwork. For a sassy character, I recommend Roxy and Jones, Curse of the Gingerbread Witch. This is a fairy tale retelling. You see a lot of fairy tale characters in this. And I can't remember if it's Roxy or Jones, but one of them is very, very sassy. I really enjoyed this one. I didn't enjoy the second book as much because the first book, one of them goes through a huge character growth. And I absolutely love that. The first book was 5 stars for me. I really, really enjoyed it. But then they lose that in the second book. And I think, why? Everything was for nothing now. But the first book is really, really good. So I would recommend that one. For a book with competition, it's Nevermore Time by Jessica Townsend. This is a very, very familiar middle grade where a girl's... There is a prophecy about her that she will die on her 12th or 13th birthday because she's cursed. And Jupiter North swoops in, get the girl out, put her in the Nevermore Academy for magical people. And there is a competition of trials to get in that she needs to compete in. And I think only 3 of them will make it through the academy. So there's definitely competition in the first book. Not in the rest of them, but in the first book there is. For a book with a bargain, I've got The Mermaid by Christina Henry. I have not read this book yet, but I really wanted to put as many mermaid retellings in there as possible, because that's a theme, you know. And I have read from Christina Henry before and I really liked it. So I'm pretty confident I will like this book. But I still need to read it myself. So I'm gonna read the blurb. Once there was a mermaid called Amelia, who could never be content in the sea. A mermaid who longed to know all the world and all its wonders, and so she came to live on the land. Once there was a man called P.T. Burnham. A man who longed to make his fortune by selling the wondrous and miraculous. And there is nothing more miraculous than a real mermaid. Amelia agrees to play the mermaid for Barnum and walk among men in their world, believing she can leave anytime she likes. But Barnum has never given up on money-making scheme in his life, and he's determined to hold on to this mermaid. So she makes a bargain with this man, and she needs to get out of it real quick. It's a Little Mermaid retelling, so pretty, you know, you can pick pretty much every Little Mermaid retelling for this, because you bet there is a bargain in there. However, I know from the book I've read from Christina Henry, she is not shy of trigger warnings. So I would recommend you to look them up if you have any. For a book with a loyal best friend, I recommend The Sea Witch. I really enjoyed this book. And somebody is gonna make a bargain with Sea Witch, which is inspired on Ursula. This is again a Little Mermaid retelling. To save her boyfriend and her best friend she just met. And another best friend. It's very complicated, but there is definitely a loyal friend in this. She grows through a lot for their friendship. So, and it's again a Little Mermaid retelling, so it would be perfect for the skills. For the good versus evil prompts, I have to go with the School of Good and Evil, which basically is a school that has one part for the evil persons and one part for the good people. And they compete in all kinds of different ways. So this is definitely a, you know, good versus evil situation. In the first book we kind of explore what is good, what is evil, and how do you get to be one of those. I really enjoy this. It is very fairy tale-esque, so I think it would fit for the schools. My stack is full. For a diverse book, I would highly recommend Me and My Dad at the End of the Rainbow by Benjamin Dean. This is written by I'm not sure if it's African, but an author that has a darker skin. The boy in this book has a darker skin, and it's a queer book, so it's very diverse. It doesn't matter if you choose to be diverse in author or in characters in books, or if it's queer, or if it's another race that you are, or anything. Just be inclusive. That's what this is about. But my dad and Nevermore is a very cute middle grade. It is contemporary, but I didn't mind for this one. Where we follow this boy whose dad just announced he's gay, and what that entails, and how that is for the dad, but also how that is for the kid and for the mom and for everyone, really. And this kid has the ID because he doesn't really get his dad, or he feels there's a distance with his dad now, and they both go through a lot, so that could possibly there, but he decides to go to the gay parade on his own, and that goes wrong, obviously. So there's a whole adventure in this gay parade, and it's really cute. It's wholesome, so I would recommend it. And then for a book with water creatures, we have Part of Your Nightmares. It's a Disney Chills collection. I'm not sure if you need to read them in order, but this is the first, so I haven't gotten further than this one yet. It's a small middle grade, which is always nice for Readathon. It's pretty because it has all these Ursula tentacles. This is again a Little Mermaid retelling. This is a Disney book, but it's set in the now. And it's contemporary. And it's about 11-year-old Shelley, who she really wants to be popular, but she isn't. Her parents divorced, so she's now starting with a new school. She's a huge swimmer, so she starts on a new swim team, and they kind of go to this aquarium, so there are a lot of water creatures in here, and she kind of makes a deal with Ursula, which she has to be very fast about not getting out of. It was a really fun book. For a new book, this is any book released in 2023, but this could also be a book you just bought, so it's new to you. A book you just heard about and can't get out of your mind is a new book to you. You can read all those. I am going to read Saving Neverland by Abby Elbenstein. This is released this year. It's a Peter Pan retelling, and I love Abby Elbenstein, so that's it. I don't know, I haven't read it yet, but this is a new book to me. I would read this, but it's hard to recommend. I don't know what new books are on your shelves. If you have any book from this year, that would count. No, I don't know what book you came across newly. That would count, but if you really have questions about this, just ask me and I will answer them. But I think you can figure this one out. And then for the last book, I got two. We got again another a Map Chronicles companion novel. It's the Crackle Dragon, and this is highly based in water. There is kind of a water race against the clock. She is kind of taken by mermaids. So I think this book in particular in the whole series would definitely fit the skills vibes, but I don't know. This series is just really good. Three of the, they would really fit in well. For you guys, they're fellas, so I just try them. I know they're also available on audiobook if you want to, if that makes things easier for you. But it will feel a lot for you. But you could also read Dark Waters. I have to tell, because look, it says water on the cover. It has obviously sea creatures, although I do believe they're more lake creatures, but we count it. It's water creatures. Yeah, it is water creatures, so it will count. This, however, is the third book in the Small Spaces series, and you do need to read that in order. But I would recommend to do so because they're really good. They're really, really good. They're all a bit of spooky, so I think they fit this Readathon very well. This definitely is a skills book. It will fulfill lots of prompts, but also the other ones will fulfill prompts because there is a manipulation in that series as well. I'm not sure if the characters are sassy. I forgot. Yeah, I do believe one is. Yeah, I believe the one actually is being sassy against the villain. But that might be in the last book. Yeah. But there's teamwork in that as well. There are very loyal friends in that. So I think the whole series would work. They're all smart. You fly through them because they're really... I got sucked in them real hard. So you just want to keep reading. And it's... I have to mention it. It's worth it. But it is the third book in the series. And you should read them in order. That were all the skills recommendations. If you have more, please leave them down below. If you have any questions, again, leave them down below. I will try to answer them all. I have left the Nevermoreathon announcement in the description bar if you still want that. Also, the sign up form, so you can sign up before April. And I'll see you in April. Bye, nerds.